Welcome back.
Hello, guys.
Happy Friday.
It is Friday for them.
Yeah.
Tuesday?
We made it another
Tuesday
week.
for us?
How was your first week out of retrograde, everybody?
Honestly?
Anyone notice something better? Something lighter? Something cheery?
I mean, to be honest, Jess, I found out at the doctor's office as I had to do some blood work, that I still got it, okay? Waiting at this doctor's office. Everybody's waiting to give blood for various things. And I see that there's a group of troubled adults, maybe in an outpatient program.
What are they?
Troubled adults, troubled adult men.
I heard troubled dogs. And I was like, what are dogs doing at the doctor's office? Okay.
No, but I mean, literally, there's a butt in every seat here. And of course, I'm just like trying to get on my phone, playing ball sort puzzle as one does.
It's Toon Blast for me, but
I've been stuck on the same level, I shit you not, for weeks. Because I just play when I'm like randomly
I do when
waiting
I watch
rooms.
TV.
Waiting rooms. So one of these young men who had a lot of skills with lighters, he was doing some lighter tricks.
Like a Zippo?
Sick. In the doctor's office waiting room, blood waiting room.
That got you going? That got you hot?
That got me hot. The etnies got me hot as well. Throwing it back.
No.
Yes. But he did look over to me and say, "Hey, I'm broke, but would you like to take me out sometime?"
No. What? What a line.
What? I mean, I truly just laughed. And I was like, my husband wouldn't really appreciate that. But, you know, thanks for asking. And then he catches on.
You're so good with replies.
I
think if someone does that to me, I'm like, no.
I was just like,
no, thank you.
yeah. I mean, I dropped the husband line. He's not my husband yet, but, you know. I was
You're
like,
wearing a ring, so you don't think he picked up on that?
Oh, but Jess, did I forget to put my ring on that morning?
Oh.
And did that young man call me out and say, "You got a husband, but you ain't got no ring"? I was
the
like,
backlash.
I know. I was like, he circled back. Like, I'm talking like 10 minutes later. Like, this man, and he was just like, "You're just the most beautiful girl I've ever seen." I was like, I'm wearing a mask and no makeup. And I haven't showered lately. So, you're desperate.
Was it a confidence
You're desperate.
boost?
I mean, it's always a confidence boost. I know I still got it, even if I only got it for men that
you
are
still got
taking
it.
drug tests for their court-ordered.
Troubled adults.
Yeah. Troubled adults. Oh, yeah, there was like a group of 5 guys there, and they were like talking about their group. Like, I think they're in like a
outpatient program or something.
Yeah. But, you know, that to be said, shoot your shot.
Go
if you're out
for
here.
it.
Go
off, King.
That happened to be last year in Home Depot. Someone came up to me and asked me out, and I was like, keep doing that. I literally said that to him. I was like, keep doing that. Keep asking people out in person because it's sweet.
But I think you should work on his delivery a bit.
Well, yeah.
Not, I'm broke. Would you take me out?
I mean, I appreciated the honesty. I mean,
yeah,
he was said, "I'm not going to be paying, but would you like to?"
If we're talking about, we love a transparent, we love a communicative
hey,
person.
Are you interested in a charity case? Because I could provide you with one. And I was cracking up. I was texting Josh. I was like, funny. Oh my God. Out here.
He shot a shot and good for him.
Truly. And I don't know what other people's stance on that is. Like, is hitting on people or asking people out in person like not approved of now since everything's online? You know what I mean?
It's ancient, but I think it's bold. And yeah. I think deep down, everybody, even though we've moved to online dating and that's the norm, everyone still wants a meet cute, you know?
Right.
I think everyone still, wishes for a fairy tale
type
in
of
person.
Meeting up.
Yeah. So
one of my new friends that I made, he met his fiance on an airplane. Like they were sitting next to each other. I was like,
what? They just talked for hours?
Yes, they did. And he got he was like, I almost didn't ask for a number because I thought it was weird. He's like, but now we're getting married in August. And I was like, that is great.
It's very cute.
That is great.
Keep that up.
Keep up.
There's strangers.
Shoot your shot,
There's
people.
strangers out there, you know?
Life is too short.
Way too short.
Shoot your shot. That's all I got to say.
I love that. What a good story, Rach.
Oh, but other than that, we've had a couple. I had a weekend. We had a wedding weekend. But something exciting happened to me at this wedding. I saw nuns. There were nuns
At the wedding?
nuns aplenty.
Wait, as guests?
No, at the church. I've never seen nuns at a church.
Did you refer to them as sister?
I didn't need
Sister
to.
Mary Catherine?
I was starstruck. I was like,
You were nervous.
they were like
around them?
lighting the candles, and I was like, oh my God, I've never seen a nun. IRL?
I don't know if I have.
Like, we know nuns exist, but where are they? They're not at every church, not at every parish.
They're not. What church was this? Is it in Cleveland?
Yeah. It was like,
I love that.
I-
What are their rules?
I
of
think
nuns?
something St. Paul.
What are
or
their rules? What is their exact purpose in the church?
Don't
Do you
get
know?
married. Don't wear makeup. Can't drink. I
just refer back to Sister Act if I have any reference
Yes,
of
let's
nuns. Yeah.
Speaking of old movies, my God.
What a classic. A cult classic.
And that's why I felt like Netflix has a critically acclaimed movies or like and so I said to Josh, I was like, I kind of want to work my way through this, like, you know,
Yeah.
like see the oldies but goodies. And so Dolly Parton, we know her, we love her. I was like, I would love to see this Steel Magnolias movie. I've heard things. Guys,
Down bad you were.
down bad, and I was fine.
I've never
Spoiler
seen it.
alert: when Shelby dies, I was like, okay,
Did you not hear me just say I didn't see it?
You called it a cult classic.
I didn't. I was saying that Sister Act was a cult classic.
Oh,
But that's okay.
Hey,
I don't know if I'd really watch
when
it.
someone dies, I was fine. But then there's a moment where Sally Field's character goes and gets this girl's son, and oh my God, Sally Field's a visionary. Doesn't get enough credit. Okay, she killed that movie. Dolly, of course. It's
legend.
It's just a real story of small town life and people and their friend. I was just
I've
crying my eyes out.
never seen that emotion from you.
Hey,
And I love you for that. You were like, I've just been crying.
I'll cry at movies. I'll cry at movies all day.
Me too. It's like the only thing that, like I said, when I feel it coming on,
Yeah.
it was This Is Us. That's the last time I did cry a little bit in the last book I read, though. Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. So good.
I haven't finished it.
It's very good. The ending's good.
I've heard great things.
Jaw dropped when I didn't see the twist coming. But I'm not good at that. Like, Joe will know the end of the movie within the first 15 minutes of the movie, and it'll be like, I guarantee that person dies.
Really?
And he's like, I guarantee you that's his dad. Or something. He knows it quickly because he was just a big movie guy. He's watched endless hours
Big
of movie.
movie guy.
Big movie guy.
Big movie.
But me, I don't. And I also don't like to think like that. Like, I
No.
want to be present in the movie so when the surprise happens that I'm shooketh.
Yeah.
Speaking of movies, everyone's going crazy over Top Gun.
So good.
You seen it?
Josh and I played hooky the other day. We went and we saw it midday.
Was Miles Teller worth? I've been obsessed with Miles Teller forever, and now everyone's
So is
blowing
Laura.
up. Yes,
Laura has been obsessed with him forever, and it's interesting to see Miles Teller in a role where, like, he could have easily played the cocky, unlikable guy.
because he normally is.
But he was the likable. So
That's
I'm like,
why everyone is fiending for him. Hot.
yeah, he is hot.
Yeah. Everyone's like, you didn't know him in Footloose. I'm like, I knew him way before that. But he is hot. And did you
know
see
what first movie he was in? Like one of his first like big movies.
No, what was it?
Project X.
That's it.
The first movie I ever went to.
He is in that. Yeah. I'm like, I can't remember.
First movie I ever went to.
To the
on the
break
grass.
of dawn, yo.
Yeah.
So good.
He is so good.
Yeah, did you see that his wife? I didn't know he
her
was married.
TikTok.
She's flexing.
She got the thirst trap.
She was like, thirst away, ladies. She's like, I'm not keeping him to my... She's like, I'm here to share.
know. I
It's
love
funny
that.
because everyone was like, this is intentional. She's trying to claim her property. She's like, no, bro. Like, I'm here to share. Sharing is caring. Get after it. But I love that. I need to go see it. Someone said who was it? I think it was my sister. She's like, imagine seeing that in IMAX theater. I'm like immediately throwing up. I would be
Josh
sick.
said that he wants to start seeing movies that way.
Not Top Gun, but I would go get a full experience out of something if I really wanted to see the movie.
Like a nature film.
Great, yeah.
Put the rainforest around me. Let me hear it. The rain.
I don't smoke a lot of ganja.
Hey.
I don't, but if I was going to IMAX and seeing a nature doc, I 100% would.
Yeah.
That was the only time I would dabble with weed. I mean, I did back in college days. I smoked. But that was it. Only to watch, like, just nerd out.
Yeah, only to experience life a little different.
Thank you.
Just
Yeah,
put
you
on
get
some,
it.
Put on some different glasses.
It's been a while.
No, my heart feels like it's going to explode when I do drugs, so I don't do it.
Your body doesn't take them well.
It doesn't. I think it's part of my neurodivergence. It doesn't do well with like any substances. I've heard that before. Other people who have like neurodivergencies, it's like it just affects us differently. Like,
interesting.
I feel like I spend a lot of my time trying to act normal, and when you're on substances, you can't act normal. You can't like figure it out.
But some people would argue that it helps. You know, like people who suffer from anxiety say, smoking weed helps, but not for me.
No.
My anxiety goes right up unless I'm drinking. I'm also going to Dave Matthews Band concert on Friday, so might have a story or two. Might dabble a little bit.
Back to DMV.
It is tradish at this point.
You go every time you can.
100%.
How many DMV concerts have you been to?
Over 10. Easy peasy. I've also traveled for it too.
You are like a fish person equivalent with Dave Matthews.
Oh,
Band.
yep.
You're like a fish girl, but for Dave Matthews Band.
Mm-hmm. It's just a freaking high school reunion. You go to the one part of Blossom Lawn, and we meet up in everyone's family again. It's an experience. It's an experience. And I'm stoked to do it again this year. So if you're going there, see you there.
One thing I have, which is very niche. Very, very niche. But I have to bring it up. And I feel like we might have brought this up before. But Cleveland area brides, babes. If I have to go to the art museum or Wade Oval one more time
and wait in line,
I'm going to absolutely drive my head into a bush. Okay, here's the deal, guys. It's not that great because here's the situation. You want to go to this place.
But so does everybody else.
But if it's sunny out, which in the summer, more than likely, you're going to get the sun, where do you take pictures there? Underneath the trees.
But I don't think people think that.
Right, they don't think that. But that's what their pictures are going to look like in the end. You're under some shade, some trees. Because if we put you on the marble steps of the art museum, you're going to be blind in about 30 seconds. The sun that bounces off that white marble into your face with the direct sun that's already... Just say no. I'll never say no to the cultural gardens, okay? I don't care. There's enough space and enough shade. We can make it work. I'm not against, like, overdone, I'm using air quotes, places. But I can't deal with the art museum.
We have driven up to the art museum, and I've seen how many people and how many party buses, and I said... we can't, I'm not going to wait in line to get to these spots. There's nowhere to shoot.
There's nowhere to shoot.
To the cultural gardens.
The cultural gardens.
Yeah.
I'll never say no. I like the cultural gardens.
It's cute there.
Lots of shady spots, lots of places to roam. I can't anymore with it.
Yeah, we'll tell. I feel like when you see it on there now as a stop, we just should divert.
And here's the thing, guys. And I want to say, obviously... us talking about weddings that we've been to recently or that we've just shot or we second shot, I think there's like a misconception when we're talking about stuff like this because it's like we're ungrateful or that we don't enjoy our jobs or love our couples. And like that's not true. But this is our job. Just like how you can go to a shift at your job and complain about like something that was like hard or especially like frustrating. That same thing happens to us. It doesn't change the fact that we love our job and we love what we get to do and that this is our life.
It's not specific to any person or couple.
No.
It's just about our job and the wedding industry as a whole. And if we can find some comedic relief in that to help us balance work and life and enjoy it still, that's exactly what we're doing. And that's what we use this platform to do. So we don't want anyone to get hurt or upset about things that we joke about. Like, this is our job.
And I would never say something like this if, like, the couple that I had shot at the art museum wasn't like, oh, this is not that great. This is stressful. Like, that's usually the vibe. It's like, oh.
I didn't know.
Right. And then it's like, well, we're already here. We got off the bus. We can make it work.
Yeah.
You know? But, like, I don't know. I never wanted to come off at, like, we're
complaining or
it's just this
not
is
grateful for what we do or the couples that we serve, because that's not it at all.
No.
We just have to find some freaking comic relief. And we're, to be honest, two people who work in the same industry. So if we're not going to talk about it, you know.
And speaking of comic relief, and granted, the wedding I was at this weekend was not my couple. I met them that day. I was shooting for someone else. Okay. Speaking of comedic relief, this best man speech. Granted, I think that the whole bridal party was absolutely sloshed. Like, I met these people that day, so, like, I didn't know them very well. But by the time the speeches were happening, I was like, are y'all okay? Are you guys actually okay? This best man speech, brother of the groom, you know how it goes. If you're going to give a speech, guys.
What is it, roast sesh?
A little bit, but also just, like, telling multiple stories. Multiple funny stories from their child.
We love funny stories because it helps us understand the
But you have
better.
to tie it into a point.
Yeah.
You can't be like, and when we were 7 and we did this, remember that? That was cool. Okay, now we're 9.
Yeah.
Like, I've literally been to weddings where people, like, brought up a memory from, like, 10 years, like going, and I'm
it
like,
needs to reveal a part of their personality,
Yes.
or it needs to reveal a part of who they are and what makes them, you know, who they are, a good partner or whatever. But
at some point in this man's speech, he brings up, like, I'm kind of like zoning out, right? I mean, I'm just taking pics. And then I hear him talk about, and then when you walked into me in my childhood bedroom during my private computer time.
What the fuck?
I was like,
no. Wait, was he trying to be funny? It was like,
he
get
was trying get a laugh out of his masturbation time. Like, he's not even pointing out on, like, he walked in on his brother's masturbation.
But why
time.
are we talking about masturbation at a wedding?
I don't know. And I'm just over here like, where am, like,
the cringe.
What actual Twilight Zone? It was just
were
one of
people
those,
laughing out of, like, awkwardness?
Yes,
okay.
yes. It's just one of those things of, like, the bride's face was like, her eyes just got big, like, huh, what are we actually talking about? And I just think that's how everybody felt. That to be said, you know, if you can take any lesson, maybe don't mention masturbating in any capacity during a formal wedding speech. I just think that may be a little bit
niche.
You know, talk about it on the bachelor party. You know, like, I'm not saying there's not a time and a place, but I am saying that it's probably not then.
It's not for any formal event ever.
But granted, again, I didn't know these people.
I feel like it tracked from the day that you had that something like that could have happened.
Yeah, my wedding day, or on Saturday, was the day of the Cleveland Pride, and everything was taking place where Cleveland Pride was. The hotel and the venue were on the block that Cleveland Pride was, and it was wild, like, so cool. Like, I'm like, you guys pop off. Like, I love all of this. It was cool, like, in the hotel room, like, seeing all the, like, stands and, like, the parade, and, like, it was cool, but it obviously added this, like, logistical aspect of, like, this is a bit stressy, bit stressful.
Just navigating around downtown when there's a big event going on. I
felt bad for the florists. Couldn't get to the hotel. They had to, like, park and walk, like, 5 or 6 blocks with all of the, like, crazy. And I the girl I was shooting with and I, like, talked that morning because I was like, I think could be a real problem. So we ended up going an hour early so we didn't run into it, and thank God we did, because, like, we wouldn't have been able to, like, do anything or get there.
Wow.
So anything can happen, you know. Wedding tip number 577: you can avoid having your wedding on any parade day, celebration, any, you know, marches for justice. Just it can give you a little snaggy.
If you have any control over that.
Yeah, I know. But that's the thing. It's
don't.
like you plan your wedding a year or two in advance.
And you don't know.
Like 6 months before, it's like Cleveland Pride.
Yeah.
And you're like, sweet, great. But yeah, that's it. Just a lot of like just my wedding stuff. Wade Oval, Just Say No, and nuns. I mean, are they making a comeback? Are they coming back?
I don't have a clue. I don't know much about nuns or the Catholic Church for that matter.
I just think that's you give me raised Catholic energy.
Yes and no. Yes, I was, but it
wasn't that serious.
But my parents got divorced, so it was just like, we don't know. You know, I feel like if we were still together.
You missed the church in your real formative teenage years.
Yeah, and it was like loose for me. You know, like both my sisters got confirmed, and it was like, I'm done going to PSR, and my dad was like, okay. Like it was like I don't want to do this. I'm doing sports. I'm doing other things.
Baby of the family.
True. It's about being the youngest of a divorced family, so it was just like things got loose, and you know, sports got in the way, and then I figured it out myself. So
well, good. You got anything else? Any other tidbits before we chat about our epi this week?
I think I had a wedding over the weekend. Things were good.
At a new venue Jess and I both shot at recently. We really like it.
Yeah, it was really nice. Brunswick peeps, Brunswick crew. A lot of Brunswick happening this past week. That's it. That's all I got.
Well, good.
I don't have any tidbits. Something really crazy happened.
Well, we're about to tid the bits off here.
We are.
Soon.
That was good, Rach. I liked it.
Don't talk about it.
Anywho.
All right.
We will be... Okay, so what are we doing, Rach? What's the meat today?
So the meat this week is we're actually going to revisit our like first ever episode in detail. We kind of like touched on this during our...
Was it our first episode?
It was, yeah. It was because we had our intro like 5-minute episode, right?
And then this was the first real one. It was Toad Vibes.
Toad Vibes.
Yep.
And so it's the top 8 things you should know before planning your wedding. I'm going to read off our top 8, which were really 9. We just couldn't count. We had Jess started. So she said, pay it forward, meaning let one vendor lead you to another. Cause then you have like a good team of people working together. I started off hot with marry the right person. Cause what's crazy is like when we first started, I was like, freshly divorced. Like I had just reached my like 1-year divorce anniversary.
Things were pretty fresh for you.
Yes, I would say.
Yeah.
Well, like Josh and I had only been dating for like 4 months.
That's crazy.
No, we had been dating for longer than that. Never mind.
He'd been living with you.
Right. I'm totally lied.
But I still feel like
we started in 2021.
We were still grieving the divorce.
Yeah, we were in a weird place. Not a weird place, but I felt recent, where now it feels like a million years ago.
Yeah. Okay.
Your next one was set your wedding day priorities. So like 3 to 5 priorities, like write them down, like what you want to focus on. I said choose your bridal party wisely. You said talk to married couples and get their advice. I said choose the wedding dress you feel the best in at your first try on. Don't try to buy a dress that like you want to love or you want to love it on advice. You. Yeah. Personal touches, building traditions that you and your partner started so guests know you better when they leave. You said that. Mm-hmm. And then I said do a boudoir session. And then you said focus on the big picture, which had our first Meg 9 knowledge drop. Yes. Big name drop. First Meg.
She's big on the platform now.
We've been dropping her.
She's been on the pod twice already. I know. She's famous now. She's famous for better and worse.
But I thought it was funny because during that episode, I was like listening, but also kind of like skipping through. But I said at one point in that episode, I was like, well, hopefully I'll be able to do this again.
I know.
And I'm like, bitch, you're I
caught that.
Full swing.
You're like, well, hopefully when I do this the next time or something like that. I was like, she's about to get married in a month.
Dude.
It's crunch time, baby.
4.5 weeks.
I know.
That's
me.
Punch.
That's on me. That's on me this week. Okay, so do you want to revisit those a bit? I still feel like they stand. A year.
Yeah, they stand.
Things are fresh for you. So I would love to get a new perspective on like, what's it like planning like in 2022 too.
So yeah, I've come up with 4 more of my new 4 top things. Part of these is like lived experience. Part of this is just like another wedding season and a half under my belt. No, 2. Like I've had 2 wedding seasons since that episode came out. So it's like I've seen more.
Right.
I've seen more stuff.
We got more.
Things are fresh.
We got more wisdom.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Wisdom to drop.
We just have attended 2 years worth of weddings.
Yeah.
And then, and you have like planning number 2 under your belt.
So, did you come up with any?
I've got some loose meat here.
Loose meat.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, they're pretty generic because I will be honest and say that I still give couples who are inquiring with me like wedding advice, or if they ask, or just things that we're talking about getting to know each other. And it is like very much the priorities one. Like, for some reason that helped me immensely and helped me budget and a lot of other things. So that's like my first solid advice, tip of the dick. But yeah, I got some loose stuff. I think yours will be really interesting because you're currently in the process, but I will definitely add to and give you some others.
So the first thing I wrote down, these are in no particular order of importance, but I said, your DJ sets the vibe and is so important if you want to dance, have fun, party, stay organized. The amount of receptions I've seen die lately because of just like bad DJs has boggled my mind. Like I've had a couple weddings recently that was like Uncle Tom's friend was doing it. And I get we got to cut corners somewhere, but like don't cut it there, or I don't know, because I've also had like couples get frustrated because like maybe they hire like a cheaper DJ, maybe he's older, and they're not playing the songs that you want them to play. Like one time I had to fight a DJ to play like a Cardi B song because I was like, the bride wants the song, play the song. He's like, I'll get to it. I'm like, no, next. We don't need the YMCA, babe.
And we've said it again about DJs. You guys, I have this as mine, and it's playlisting / music, and this it affects your entire day.
Yep.
And my last wedding, Lauren and Dan are really into music as well, and they hired this DJ who the groom works with. So great. They said they spent hours on their playlisting. The DJ was on board with all of this. And when I say vibes were immaculate during cocktail hour, they were immaculate because Frank Sinatra was not in the queue. I'm just saying, switch it up. Yeah. If you guys like folksy Mumford & Sons, Lumineers music, play that at your cocktail hour. Play that while people are eating dinner.
Yeah.
We only know a handful of good DJs. We know
few and far between.
And one being Aaron and San, like you guys already know and have met. Well, we need San on here, but things are changing. Okay, things are changing in the music and DJ wedding industry, and you just have to look for it, and it's worth investigating. And
I think hiring someone with like a good presence. You know, like Aaron like carries himself really well, and he like
the emceeing is great.
Like your DJ should help bear the weight off of you, not put more weight on you. And I've had DJs like really like scold the couple because like, we're not on schedule, we're not on this.
Fuck
and
the
like
schedule. It's like, go roll with it like everyone else does. Yeah.
Relax.
It's huge. And I'm just saying we know the effect music can have on an event, on people, on moods and emotions. So play on that.
Yeah.
Or if you don't feel like you are super big into music, people are like, we're good with whatever. Just put a little more effort.
Then trust your DJ to read the room. Yeah. Because if you're not that big into music, I guarantee you still want to like dance or have other people dance. Like nothing more awkward. It kills me every time than when we have a full dance floor and then the DJ plays another slow song and everybody clears off the dance floor. It's like, dude, stop with it. You did the anniversary dance. You did this isn't prom. You don't need to like.
I feel like these DJs were never on the aux at a house party.
Never.
And it shows.
No.
You know how to get the crowd going. You know, if you've ever had the pleasure, the wonderful pleasure and privilege of being on aux at any point in time. And I'm telling you, you just got to know how to work it. But there are DJs out there, and I think you just have to search a little harder for them outside of, you know, big production companies.
Yeah.
They're out there. You just need to search for them, and you need to make your vision really clear when it comes to music, because I promise it's like night and day with how it'll affect guest experience, mood, overall experience.
True.
Good. I had that same one. Okay.
Oh, cool.
Okay, should I go with one?
Yeah, do you have a loosey goose for us?
It is loose, okay? But I think this is something, it's more geared towards like 2022 and weddings now, and it's determining a wedding style. And I know this sounds like, okay, yeah, my Pinterest board, but there are really specific styles now into weddings.
Yeah.
And I think we're understanding that better. And I'm thinking like that helps you lead to your vendors. So even if you do create a Pinterest board, like we know we've always done, there's a specific essence and vibe and aura to it that can help you cultivate that with the right people.
Right.
So I
said something similar to that. And I said, try to have some sort of vision for how you want your day to look and feel. Yeah. This goes like beyond your decorations or your color palette or like the china you choose or whatever. When you get your wedding gallery back, how do you want it to feel? Because there have been times where like I've had a disconnect with clients about like how they wanted their day to look and how it actually was. Mm-hmm. Like they wanted their day to feel like timeless and elegant, but they spent their entire time that I was there, you know, they did a receiving line, they did like all of this stuff that was like it just ate away time where we could have like styled something or done something different. And you know, I've had couples that have done a really good job on like focusing and staying in the moment and telling me like I really don't care about portraits, I just want like photos of us with our family. And like being able to verbalize that to like the people that are documenting your wedding is super important, because like I really don't have a preference. Like if I have 5 minutes for portraits or 30 minutes for portraits, it's like if that's what you choose and that's what you're doing, like I'm not going to feel pressure to like give you 100 bridal portraits if you only want to do, you know, 5 to 10 minutes of portraits. Like that's your choice, not mine. I can say like maybe I need more time or whatever, but try to have some sort of a vision, because I was recently at a wedding, again, not of my own wedding, where I felt like the couple really like either they didn't have any expectations and I was like, well, this is cool, or they could have had expectations, but no one knew what they were. And it was it was the hardest wedding I've ever like trying to read this couple of like, because like I've been taking on a lot of weddings that aren't my own. I've been like second shooting, associate shooting, and like for photo and video, and so like I've just been working my ass off really. So part of it was like I didn't know this couple at all, but I was still like, what do they want this day to look like in the end? Yeah. Like what are they expecting this to look like? Like sometimes I've like with our couples, it's like, oh, they're gonna want a vintage feel or something more vibey, or they're gonna want something more clean and timeless.
And we find that out with getting to know the couple. But if you are kind of getting thrown in, or you know, second shooting, or you know, associate shooting for someone, it's a little hard to like get a read on people right away, and then like you're seeing everything, so you're catching the vibe, or you know what kind of vision that they're going for. And even the main
photographer at this was like, I've got no idea.
Yeah, what
like she did their engagement photos and everything. And so I was like, it was very, very weird. It was a strange day, but that really like made me think that like if you're so caught up in going through the motions and ticking things off the box, like try to take a step back and like, you know, get a drink with your partner, or you know, have coffee in the morning and just be like, when we look back at our gallery, what do we want to see? And like thinking of it from that perspective. Like,
I know you might not think that either, because we think like that because we're documenting it. So it is, I guess we're telling you that's something to think about. Mm-hmm. And we'll, you know, if your photographer doesn't ask you that, maybe that's something you should tell them, because that's a way that.
Yeah. I think you gave me this, but like on our pre-wedding questionnaires that we send our couples, one of the questions that you ask and now I ask because I copied you, was if you could only have 5 photos from your wedding,
favorite question,
what would they be? And our couple for this weekend, we're going to New England for their wedding, Carly and Chelsea, and they said the first thing they listed was us having coffee in the morning together.
I wouldn't have known that if I didn't ask this question.
I might have just been like bullshit and drinking my own coffee, think you wanted like privacy, you know? Like,
yes,
it's wild.
It's stuff that maybe they would assume that you would get, but now that we know to pay extra fucking attention to it. It's my favorite question because it's like, I also ask like, what are some other like special happenings or important aspects of your day that you want me to like pay more attention to? And they'll put it in there, but like the 5, it's like walking down the aisle and you know that that's important, but like, okay, now I know to make sure I really nail the shot or I, get creative with it or something,
Yeah.
Or just stuff that you don't
And I think it helps
about.
them think.
Right.
What are the important moments visually that we want to remember and have, in a time capsule? Mm-hmm. And I don't know. It's great. If your photographer doesn't ask you that, maybe try to answer that yourself. Because
I don't know if I said this on the pod, but I use this example a lot. And if not, I'm going to say it again. I had a bride whose mom passed away, and she said, I really want pictures and photos of my guests and family members looking at the memory table. Never, ever would I ever think I would document the memory table. And maybe if I was there, right time, right place, and I saw someone taking in the photos of her mom, I maybe would have thought about it. But now I know that I'm like, oh, I'll spend a few minutes over there watching people react to the photos of her mom.
Like, don't give me a shot by shot list. Nothing's going to turn me off quicker.
I got one that was 2 pages long in Excel. But this girl was like family to me. So I was like, I love you very much. And I know that this helped you.
But I'm going to burn this.
But I got you. And it was easy to do that with her. But nothing we
Did you know some wedding blogs tell people to do that? So some people literally think let's
set the record straight here, right now.
Wedding planners, wedding bloggers, fuck that shit.
We don't want it.
I don't want you to tell me to get your dress shot, your shoe shot, this shot with your girls. This shot. It's like, it's going to happen. If it's there in the moment, I'm going to do it.
There's nothing worse. As most people can relate, there's nothing worse than somebody else telling you how to do your own job. So please respect that from us, that we know what we're doing. And you hired us because you believe you know what we're doing. Yeah. So believe that, trust that, and let us do our thing.
But maybe you hired a photographer who wants a shot by shot list.
If they ask for it, go by all means, give it to them. But we're going to say for most photographers, and including us specifically, because we can speak for ourselves, is that we would rather you not.
Would rather you not tell me to take a picture of you with you getting your dress on. It's like,
and listen, and if the mom's excited, nervous, anxious, and she's like, get this, I will. I'll oblige, and I'll be kind. And I'm like, oh, thank you, Yeah. And only a few times will I really feed into that. But if someone's helicoptering, being like, did you get this? Did you get this?
It's usually like one bridesmaid that's like doing the most.
And the bride,
she's not the maid of honor, but she wants to be.
The bride always goes, hey, we paid Jess because she knows what she's doing. Let her do her thing. And it's always the bride sticks up for me, and I'm like,
thank you.
Love you.
Oh my gosh. Okay, go
ahead, Rach. You got another one?
So my other one is, this is something that I'm living firsthand. Weddings are pricey. They just are. So try to set that expectation going into it and plan accordingly, and don't expect to be able to like work around that. Not that you can't, not that there aren't areas to work around, but whether that means maybe you're having a longer engagement to save up the money, maybe you're taking on more work. Like that's what I decided to do, is like I've made like $6,000 in the past like 3 months just taking on work.
Damn, Rach. That funeral. Shout out Eileen.
Hey, that funeral. Eileen. The second shooting, associate shooting.
Bless up, Eileen.
Truly, like that's what I've had to do. And I'm never going to regret doing that. I honestly feel like hashtag blessed or whatever, that I was able to take on that work and make it work.
Just grateful for the opportunities.
But like, don't let the sticker shock keep you from having the vendors you really want. They probably charge that for a reason. And that's something that I find that very personal to me, because Madison and I have a high price tag because we're 2 women trying to support our families. And it sucks when we don't even get to like engage in a conversation with people and when they like shut it down. Like I've conversed with couples, well, mostly brides, and then the day of the consultation, it's like clear that they finally showed their fiance the price and then they cancel. That's happened to me probably 5 times. Day of, like I arrange my schedule around this. And it's like, give me the opportunity to like let you get to know me, to talk about like payment plans, to talk about anything. Because it sucks when people don't, you know,
give you the opportunity at all.
Like just give me the opportunity. Give yourself the opportunity to hear about what a wedding could look like through our lens. Like, right. I don't know. I get that money doesn't grow on trees. I say that all the time. I understand. And you know, I cashed all my savings
living
funds.
It firsthand. So
I'm doing the best I can right now.
But like you said, like there are options, and if you would just let me explain those, or give me the opportunity to explain them, then things could be different. Like payment plans, like making this work for them. Like it's hard to be shut out before even having a chance to talk, and I think that's frustrating.
Like there are some wedding aspects that I think are bullshit, like cost, like pricey stuff that I'm like, why the hell does it cost this, you know, X amount? I'm not going to say what, because I don't want to, you know, diminish whatever anybody does. But more than likely, if you are working with like a solo owned business, like they're charging that because they need to. Mm-hmm. Like they're not trying to fuck you over, right?
Yeah.
I will say the one thing, because it's not, people can't do venues. Venues are the thing that I feel like are highway robbery. There are some venues that is a $15,000 reservation fee in Cleveland. Like to book a wedding at this venue is $15,000. That's not including food. That's including tables or linens.
Like what?
Yes.
Average weddings are like $30,000. That's half of it right there.
Yes.
And most people are doing it around 20.
Venue fees have gotten insane. So I will say that. I'll shit on some venues real quick, because unless it's an all-inclusive thing where it's like, this is the cost for this and food and blah, blah, blah. I think that's great. But if you're like, oh, it's going to cost $8,000 just to book it.
Asinine. Fucking crazy.
Crazy bananas.
Oof.
So I will say that. I think that is those are the biggest part of wedding planning that I think are where they take advantage of the industry. And I think, because venues are obviously the first thing people book, and then it sets the tone for everything else.
Well, and if you spent half your budget on your venue, then you don't have enough to divvy up for all the other vendors.
Yeah. So it's
something to think about.
Yeah, the venues are the thing that I'm like, hey, boo, tomatoes.
Go get a tent in someone's nice ass backyard. You'll be good to go.
Or like, I am never ever gonna shit on a hotel reception. And I want this is my thing.
A ballroom classico?
Oh, I don't care. I would love you to have a meaningful ceremony outside, something pretty. Mm-hmm. Let's go take pictures at your favorite park, hit a brewery on the way back. Like, let's do that. Let's get married in your parents' backyard. But I shot a wedding a couple weeks ago, and at a hotel, it is so fucking nice for your guests.
It's convenient.
I'm never, ever going to shit on them, ever.
Mm-hmm. I get it.
One, as a photographer, I'm bouncing that flash all night. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't need to look any type of way. It's not going to have a rustic vibe if you're getting married at the Courtyard Suites. Mm-hmm. But there is Benny's too. I will never shit on a hotel reception. I will never do it. I like them. I'm going to go out on a bridge and say, like, I dig them. I'm like, because the couple is going to do them because they want their guests to party and they care about their safety. Mm-hmm. Every single bride or groom that I've had that had a like hotel ballroom reception were like, we were just so worried about people driving afterwards. It's what everyone says.
I didn't even think of that. I just thought straight up 100% convenience.
Yeah. I mean, it is convenient, but it's
I never
safe.
Thought
it's a safety issue.
Wow. Okay.
You know, like it is. For our wedding, that's something I'm worried about, because it's like, if people aren't staying, I know they're not going to Uber. I hope, you know, it's like, it's stress.
Catch me Uber into that hotel.
You and Joe will Uber because you're not dumb. but we'll see.
Joe is a ball of anxiety, so
Yeah.
there's no way.
True.
Okay. Do we need to? Here's what I have, Rach. Yikes. Something that we kind of did but didn't fully do, so I kind of regret. But take some time off before and after your wedding.
Mm.
Take a step out of the planning process. Take a weekend away. Do something just together that doesn't involve anything that has to do with wedding, but also take time after. Nothing is worse. I don't know if we talked about this before, but Joe and I didn't do a honeymoon, but we did stay in Columbus for a few days to come down from the high.
That's what Josh and I are doing.
Good.
We're going to Columbus.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cute. It's a great spot.
Yeah.
Just away enough.
Yeah.
But even something like that, like, so it doesn't have to break the bank, doesn't be some tropical all-inclusive bullshit, but it can be if you plan it. Mm-hmm. But nothing is worse than jumping right back into reality after riding like the wedding high.
I've had a bride. I can think of only one person specifically. They weren't my bride. They were just my friend, actually, who she was a teacher, got married on a Sunday in the fall, and taught on Monday.
Buzz Killington.
No.
Buzz Killington. That is terrible. Like, it's just any old weekend.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
I was
that
like,
is sad,
girl,
guys.
Take some time.
Something, just a few days, and go do something that you wouldn't normally do.
Right.
I don't care if that's sitting in your hotel, getting room service all day. That is what it's about. It's about just enjoying your marital bliss for a few extra days. I would highly, highly, highly recommend. I don't care if it doesn't have to cost a lot of money either. Just do it.
I agree. Just taking that time for it to like sink in and just enjoy each other.
Alone time. Because to be honest, how much are you really alone with your partner on your wedding day?
Well, that leads, Jess, we are in sync, bitch. So that leads me to my last one. It says carve out time in your schedule to spend with your partner, whether it's coffee in the morning together or stealing time away after the ceremony. Honor your commitment on that day and do everything you can to let it sink in. It's a high energy day. It really is. Like, the anxieties from everyone are through the roof.
Immense.
But if you can just like say, like, I've had couples just like take a smoke break, you know, like, let's just chill for 5 minutes and like talk. Mm-hmm. Like, talk about what happened in the morning. Talk about, like, you don't have to like confess your love to each other during this time, but like touch base. If the first time you're seeing your partner is like at the ceremony, take some time.
I've thought of this. Someone made a good point about doing a first look, because this couple was like, oh, I want to wait to see them down the aisle. And then someone made a point, was like, our ceremony's at 5 and our reception ends at 11. Mm-hmm. So I only see you for like 7 hours of that day on our wedding day. Only see you for that long. That's silly.
Yeah.
That's silly.
And once you get to the reception, you don't see each other.
100% no. So
it is rare. I'd say it's rare for me to get the bride and the groom at the dance floor at the same time.
And when they are, I'm shooting like crazy.
Yeah.
Because I have to make it look like you guys were together all fucking night.
Yeah.
But just because they make good photos. But I just thought that was such a good point and such a good perspective of how much time you actually spend, or intentional time, or just like touching base truly with that person. And we say this all the time to our couples. I think you do as well. And we're like, if you want to build that time, and we highly recommend it, because just it's our job to keep you present in the moment throughout your day. So I try to build it in, you know, I'm like, hey, you know, I'm done with photos. So if you guys just want to like hide out for a few minutes, I'm going to go head up and grab some grub. But I don't know. I think that's really important. I think taking one freaking deep breath in, going back in just together, or just, you know, don't talk because you've been talking all day. I don't know. Anything, whatever that looks and feels like to you, I think is really important to do.
Yeah. I feel like there's not a magic answer to slowing the day down. I wish there was. We've been to enough where it's like we try. And it sucks. I hate that it's that day that like, oh, it's just going by so fast. Like, I don't remember it. Like, blacked out. You know, like all of that. It's all true. But I wish I knew like exactly the formula I could do to like, you're going to live your best life. You're going to remember everything. But just try to like take a moment to like think about, like sit down with your partner and talk about like, how can we slow this day down for us? Like, you know, when it gets there, because it sucks. It sucks when it goes so fast you don't even know what hit you.
Mm-hmm. It does go. I mean, I can attest to that. It just was like over in the blink of an eye. Yeah. But I will say something that I wish I would have done. And I say this in hindsight. And then I know you were like, I'm so interested to know what you would do different. And I know my answer last time we said this was my dress. But with slowing things down and with having some alone time, I really wish that Joe and I got ready together alone. I really wish like he got me in my dress and then he turned around and we saw like had that moment. And I was so like, he didn't want a first look, and that was fine with me. I'm like, I'm fine to party with my girls all morning. That's fine. But I think that would have been a good intentional time for us. And that would be a nice escape. Like literally that would be the alone time that I didn't get. I think we took 5 minutes at the bottom of those stairs before we came into the reception. That was our only time. But that's what I wish we would have done.
Right. Because I feel like it's like getting back into like your habit of reality, you know, like you and Joe, like getting ready in the morning is something you do all the time. And so it would feel natural to like do that on that day. I've had a couple weddings where couples do that, mostly elopements and small weddings, but it is like, it doesn't take away. Like, I think people think that seeing each other before the wedding will take away the pressure or take away the emotion of the first look down the aisle. I truly can't express how much I disagree with that.
It's funny you said pressure because it does take away the pressure, but it doesn't take away the emotion.
Right. It takes away the pressure of the reaction, but I feel like it gives people more freedom to like, I've already seen them. We've already
it doesn't take away from how big that fucking moment is walking down the aisle.
If you've got a crier, you've got a crier.
That person's going to cry if they've seen you 30 times that day or for the first time walking down the aisle. I believe that.
Because walking down the aisle, it's such a moment. Like it's its own thing. And I almost feel like it's overwhelming if it's the first time that you see each other. You know?
This was really cool. It's a good example of this. My couple over the weekend had a first look. It was great, you know, and it went well. They did like a private vow reading together. That was emotional. That was good. And they were kind of still writing, like was nervous, right? Like it's still kind of chaotic. And we were doing their photos and she was like holding her dress up. They're holding hands. And I told the groom to look at Lauren, and his name's Dan. He looks at, and she's doing the dress thing. And Lauren's like, "Are you crying?" And Dan was so just overwhelmed with emotion just looking at Lauren during these photos after the ceremony, and they'd been married at this point. And he was like, I feel like this is like, I'm feeling everything right now in this moment because everything's done and I can finally relax and I'm actually taking in that she's my wife. It was just such a cool moment that I just like, and then I just kind of stepped away and let them have it. And he's just like crying and, they're just being happy together. He's like, I'm just elated. I'm so happy. And it was like, what a cool moment, and it's crazy. It's a good example of like not things, your emotions aren't happening when they're supposed to on the day, and they could just happen at a moment when things start to slow down. So it's a good example of like, that's such high emotion when you're walking down the aisle, but it's like, you may not feel
you'll feel overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I mean, I've said this before. I know I have, that I've had brides that like think they're going to cry hysterically. And then 100 people are staring at you. And then you just go, and then you're just like fucking deer in the headlights. Like,
I could have sworn.
Like, how many brides that look at people like wave down the aisle like, "Hi, nice to see ya." And it's like, girl,
you're like, get back in the moment. Yeah, you just don't know. It's a lot of pressure. So I could have sworn that I would cry on my wedding day, and I didn't. But I was also on birth control. Now I'm thinking,
oof,
killer, emotion killer.
Really?
Oh yeah, I cried everything now that I'm off. Do you think you'll cry?
Yeah, I intend on crying. I'm planning on it.
Setting up for it.
I've been well, I guess fucking Steel Magnolia's really cashed in that quarterly a little early.
You cashed in the quarterly. You 100% did. But we got another quarterly coming up, so.
Yes.
That's so funny.
Oh, I feel like this was a good epi.
Yeah,
same. Do you have any other loose gooses?
No, I would like that if we ended on that.
I would like if we ended it now.
Because I don't.
I would like to be done now.
I really did stand re-listening. I really stood with a lot of the stuff that I say.
Yeah.
That I said before. Like, those are my main points. But it was good.
Yeah.
Good epi.
Good epi.
Thanks, guys, for listening.
Yeah. We're going to have a guest on soon.
Right?
Right?
Yes. I have to inform her, but
a little pride epi.
a little pride epi. Trish, long-time listener, first-time caller, will be sitting here, and I think she'll be stoked.
Yes,
she's a big For Better and Worse fan, so we're stoked to have her. Trish, if you don't hear from me, I know you're listening to this. You're gonna be on the pod.
We are very excited.
I'll be contacting you soon. No, I'm so excited for that. But yeah, so we got some future eps coming. Are we telling them about them?
Yeah.
I'll cut that out. Okay, well, thank you guys for listening.
We love you. We care for you. And have a wonderful weekend, everyone.
Love you. Love ya.
Bye.
This has been For Better and Worse
Oh,
Podcast.
yeah.
I'm Jess.
I'm Rach.
And we out of here.